The night shift on Kepler 442 was always quiet. Tae-Wan preferred it that way. He walked along the metal pathway toward the atmospheric processor, his boots clanging against the grated floor. Above him, 2 moons hung in the purple sky. The colony of New Haven slept behind him, a cluster of lights 3 kilometers away. Tae-Wan was 28 years old and had worked as a maintenance engineer for 6 years. His job was simple. He fixed the machines that made the air breathable. He worked alone, which suited him fine. People asked too many questions. They wanted to know about his family, his plans, his feelings. Tae-Wan had learned that keeping quiet made life easier. The processor hummed steadily as he approached. His scanner showed everything normal. He was about to turn back when something bright streaked across the sky. It moved too fast to be a meteor, too controlled to be debris. A ship. Tae-Wan watched it arc overhead, trailing smoke and fire. It disappeared beyond the forest line, and seconds later a dull boom echoed across the valley. The impact lit up the trees for just a moment. He stood frozen. Protocol was clear. Any unusual activity had to be reported immediately to the colony administrator. Hay-In would send a security team to investigate. That was the rule. But something made Tae-Wan hesitate. The crash site was maybe 2 kilometers into the forest. He could reach it in 20 minutes. If it was just debris, reporting it would cause unnecessary panic. If it was something dangerous, he should know before bringing others into risk. That was what he told himself as he grabbed his emergency kit and headed into the trees. The forest was thick with native vegetation. Purple vines hung from black-barked trees. Bioluminescent fungi provided patches of blue light. Tae-Wan followed his scanner toward the crash site, pushing through undergrowth that scratched at his suit. He found the ship in a clearing. It was small, maybe the size of a family transport. But the design was wrong. Human ships had clean lines, practical shapes. This thing looked organic, like it had been grown rather than built. Panels of what might have been metal curved into each other. Glowing lines pulsed weakly across the hull. Smoke rose from a gash in the side. Tae-Wan approached carefully, his heart pounding. His scanner showed no radiation, no biological hazards, but it did detect a life sign inside. He climbed through the opening, using his flashlight to see. The interior was even stranger than the outside. Controls that looked like they belonged in a body rather than a cockpit. Surfaces that shifted texture when his light passed over them. And in the back, strapped into something like a seat, was a girl. She was not human. Her skin was pale with a slight blue tint. Glowing marks ran down her arms and neck in patterns that seemed intentional, like tattoos that produced their own light. Her eyes were too large, adapted for darkness. She had hair, but it moved slightly as if underwater. She looked young, maybe 14 or 15 by human standards. She was also injured. Blue blood seeped from a cut on her forehead. Her breathing was shallow. When Tae-Wan stepped closer, her eyes snapped open. They were completely black, with flecks of light inside, like looking into space. She made a sound. Not words. A kind of musical tone that his translator chip could not process. Fear showed clearly in those alien eyes. Tae-Wan raised his hands slowly. "I am not going to hurt you," he said, knowing she probably could not understand. "You crashed. You are injured." She struggled weakly against the restraints. The ship groaned. Tae-Wan realized it was not stable. He made a quick decision. He reached for the restraints and found they responded to touch, releasing her. She nearly fell, but he caught her. She was light, too light for her size. She made that musical sound again, urgent and afraid. Her hand touched his scanner, and suddenly, it started displaying symbols he did not recognize. She was trying to communicate. Tae-Wan's translator chip began working overtime, picking up fragments. Warning, danger, hunters. Those words came through clearly. She was running from something. The ship groaned again. Taiwan made another decision, one that would change everything. He could not leave her here. He could not take her to the colony without permission. That left only one option. "Can you walk?" he asked. She did not understand the words, but she understood the intent. She nodded, a gesture that apparently translated across species. She tried to stand, stumbled, and grabbed his arm. Her grip was strong despite her injury. Taiwan helped her out of the ship. She looked around the forest with wonder and fear mixed together. He guided her away from the crash site, supporting her weight. She flinched at every sound. 20 minutes later, they reached the old mining station. It had been abandoned 2 years ago when the minerals ran out. The colony kept meaning to dismantle it, but never got around to it. Taiwan had been here before, knew it still had power and basic supplies. He got her inside and helped her sit on an old crate. Under better light, he could see more details. She wore clothing that seemed to be part technology, part fabric. Her injured head was still bleeding. She looked exhausted. Taiwan pulled out his medical kit. He had no idea if human medicine would work on her biology, but he had to try. She watched him carefully as he approached with antiseptic. When he dabbed at her wound, she hissed, but held still. The bleeding slowed. She touched her head, then looked at him. She made a gesture with her hands, bringing them together over her chest. "Thank you, maybe." Taiwan nodded. He tried his translator again, speaking slowly. "My name is Taiwan. What is yours?" The chip worked harder. She made sounds, and slowly the translator found patterns. "Neela," it produced. Her name was Neela. "Neela," he repeated. She smiled slightly. It was a human expression, or close enough. Some things transcended species. Taiwan checked his watch. His shift ended in 3 hours. Dong Hyun, his supervisor, would expect his report. The colony would notice the crash site by morning. Search teams would be deployed. Questions would be asked. He looked at Neela, who had curled up on the crate, her eyes already closing. She was hurt and scared and running from something she called hunters. Every regulation said he should report this immediately. Every practical thought said hiding her was impossible. But Taiwan had lost his younger sister 5 years ago. The colony had cut safety corners to save money. A tunnel had collapsed. They found her 3 days later. He remembered her fear, how she must have felt alone in the dark. He remembered promising himself he would never let fear stop him from doing what was right. He pulled out his portable terminal and typed a message to Dong Hyun. "Equipment malfunction at Processor 7. Need extra time for repairs. Will report in morning." The lie came easily. The consequences would come later. Right now, he had an injured alien girl in an abandoned station, and somehow she had become his responsibility. Neela's eyes opened briefly. She looked at him and made that gesture again, hands over heart. Then she slept. Taiwan sat against the wall and wondered what he had just done. Outside, the moons moved across the sky. The colony slept, and somewhere up there, maybe something was hunting. 2 weeks had passed since the crash. Taiwan had developed a routine that felt increasingly fragile. Wake up, work his normal shift, pretend everything was normal, then sneak supplies to the old mining station where Neela hid. The colony had found the crash site on day 2. Hay In, the colony administrator, had sent security teams to investigate. They found the strange ship and reported it immediately. Scans showed no survivors. The ship's interior had been burned by what looked like a self-destruct mechanism. Neela had activated it remotely using skills Taiwan still did not understand. The colony declared it an unknown probe and filed a report with Earth. Then they moved on. They had bigger problems. The water recyclers were failing. 3 families were arguing over housing assignments. Life continued. But Taiwan's life had completely changed. Neela healed faster than any human could. The cut on her head disappeared in 3 days. Her strength returned, but she could not leave the mining station. The colony's scanners swept the perimeter regularly. One wrong move, and they would find her. The language barrier had been the first challenge. Taiwan's translator chip helped, but it was designed for human languages. Neela's species made sounds that included tones and frequencies humans could not produce. But she was smart. Incredibly smart. She studied his tablet, learning written English faster than seemed possible. She listened to his words and repeated them, practicing pronunciation. Within a week, she could make basic sentences. Her voice had a musical quality, like she was singing even when speaking. "Food is good," she said one evening, eating the soup he had brought. "Thank you, Taiwan." He smiled. "You are learning quickly." "Your language is simple," she said. Then, seeing his expression, she added, "I mean, not complicated. Easy patterns." Taiwan had learned things about her, too. She was Vesha. Her people lived on a planet called Veshara, far from human space. She was 15 in Vesha years, which translated to roughly the same in human development. She had been on a research station with her family when the Krell attacked. The Krell. She hated that word. When she spoke it, her glowing marks pulsed darker, and her hands formed fists. "They came at night," she explained in broken English, mixing in Vesha words the translator tried to process. "Killed my mother, killed my father, took me and others, said we were valuable. Said our gift was worth much money." Her gift. That was another discovery. Neela could interface with technology in ways that seemed impossible. She touched his tablet once and suddenly understood its entire operating system. She brushed against a broken tool and knew exactly what was wrong with it. When he brought her a damaged circuit board from work, she held it for 5 seconds and described every failed connection. "How do you do that?" he asked. She struggled to explain. "I feel the electricity, the data. It speaks to me. All Vesha can do this, but my family line is stronger. That is why Krell took us." The Krell were slavers and criminals. They sold rare species and technology on black markets. The Vesha's ability to interface with any technology made them incredibly valuable. Neela had escaped when her transport ship was attacked by someone else, probably another criminal group. In the chaos, she reached an escape pod and ran. "I flew for days," she said quietly. "Ship's computer was damaged. I did not know where I would land. Then I crashed here." Taiwan listened and felt anger building inside him. She was just a child. She had watched her parents die, been kidnapped, sold like property, and she still smiled when he brought her soup. On day 10, disaster almost struck. Taiwan was showing Neela how to play a simple video game on his tablet when footsteps echoed in the mining station entrance. He barely had time to shut off the tablet and push Neela behind some old equipment before Jiwoo walked in. Jiwoo was a medical technician and the closest thing Taiwan had to a friend. They had worked together for 3 years. She was smart, curious, and noticed everything. "Taiwan?" she called out. "I saw your tracker. What are you doing out here?" He stepped forward quickly. "Equipment check. Just routine maintenance." Jiwoo looked around the dusty, abandoned station. "Routine maintenance on a closed facility. I was in the area. Thought I should verify the power systems." She studied his face. Jiwoo had this way of looking at people that made them confess things. "You have been acting strange for 2 weeks. Donghyun thinks you are sick. Hae-in thinks you are avoiding council duties. I think you are hiding something." Behind the equipment, Neela shifted slightly. The sound was tiny, but Jiwoo heard it. Her hand went to the stun device on her belt. "Who is there?" she demanded. Taiwan made a decision. He could not fight Jiwoo. He could not lie well enough to fool her. That left only truth. "Please do not be afraid," he said. "And please do not report this immediately. Just listen first." Jiwoo's eyes narrowed. "Taiwan, what did you do?" He gestured, and slowly Neela stepped out from hiding. Jiwoo's reaction was immediate. She pulled her stun device, aimed it, then stopped. Her mouth opened. She looked at Neela, then at Taewon, then back at Neela. "This is Neela," Taewon said calmly. "She is not dangerous. She is the survivor from the crash 2 weeks ago." "The crash that had no survivors," Jiwoo said slowly. "The crash that destroyed itself." "She made it do that," Taewon explained, to hide her tracks. Neela stepped forward carefully, hands raised in the peaceful gesture Taewon had taught her. "Hello," she said in her musical voice. "Please do not be afraid of me." Jiwoo stared. As a medical technician, she had studied xenobiology, but it was all theoretical. Humanity had never made contact with intelligent alien life. Until now. "You are real," Jiwoo whispered. "You are actually real." "Yes," Neela said. "I am real." The stun device lowered. Jiwoo looked at Taewon. "Explain everything. Now." So he did. Neela added details, her English improving as she spoke. Jiwoo listened to the whole story. The Krell, the slavery, the escape, Taewon's decision to hide her. When they finished, Jiwoo sat on a crate, processing. "Do you understand what you have done?" she asked Taewon. "Hiding first contact, violating every protocol. This could end the colony." "I know," he said. "They could exile you. Prison on Earth. Your life would be over." "I know." Jiwoo looked at Neela again. "Why did you do this?" Taewon thought about his sister, about the darkness, about being alone and afraid. "Because it was the right thing to do." Silence filled the station. Then Jiwoo stood and walked to Neela. She pulled out her medical scanner and began running tests. "If I am going to help keep you alive, I need to understand your biology." Taewon felt relief wash over him. "You will help?" "I am probably insane," Jiwoo said. "But yes, I will help." She looked at Neela with scientific fascination. "Your cellular structure is incredible. You heal by accelerated regeneration. Your nervous system interfaces with electromagnetic fields. No wonder the Krell wanted you." Neela smiled. "You are kind, like Taewon." Over the next few days, Jiwoo became part of the secret. She brought better supplies, medical equipment, food that suited Neela's biology better. She taught Neela about human medicine while learning about Vesha physiology. But on day 14, everything changed. Taewon was at work when alarms sounded throughout the colony. He rushed to the command center, where Hae-in stood looking at a holographic display. Above Kepler 442, a massive ship had appeared in orbit. It was not human. The ship broadcast a message in multiple languages, including English. The voice was cold and mechanical. "Attention, human colony. We are Krell Syndicate. You possess stolen property. 1 Vesha juvenile, designation Neela 7. Return her immediately or face destruction. You have 48 hours to comply." The command center erupted in confusion. People shouted questions. How did aliens know they were here? What was a Vesha? Who was Neela 7? Hae-in's eyes found Taewon across the room. Her expression said everything. She knew. Somehow, she knew. "Taewon," she said in a voice that carried authority and anger, "I think you have something to tell the council." The council chamber was full, every seat occupied. Standing room only. 1,200 colonists on New Haven, and it seemed like half of them had crowded in to hear what would happen next. The other half watched on screens throughout the colony. Taewon stood at the center, feeling the weight of hundreds of eyes. Beside him stood Neela, her glowing marks bright with stress. Jiwoo stood on his other side, showing solidarity. They faced the council table where Hae-in sat with 4 other administrators. The chamber was completely silent. Hae-in looked at Taewon with an expression he could not read. Anger, disappointment, fear. "Explain," she said simply. So he did. He told them about finding the crash, about Neela's injuries, about her fear. He explained about the Krell, about the slavery, about why he chose to hide her instead of report her. I know I broke protocol, he finished. I accept responsibility, but I will not apologize for helping her. The silence that followed felt crushing. Then Byung-ho, head of security, stood up. He was a large man with a military background. You endangered every person in this colony. You made a decision that was not yours to make. Because of you, we now face a warship in orbit with demands we cannot meet. He pointed at Neela. She is not our concern. She is not our responsibility. We should hand her over immediately. Angry murmurs of agreement rippled through some of the crowd. Other voices shouted protests. The chamber descended into chaos until Hae-in slammed her hand on the table. "Quiet," she commanded. When silence returned, she looked at Neela. "Can you understand me?" Neela nodded. "Yes, I speak English now. Not perfect, but I understand." "Tell us your story," Hae-in said. "Everything." Neela's voice was steady despite her fear. She told them about Vashara, her home planet, about her family's research station studying ancient technology, about the night the Krell came. "I was in my room," she said, her glowing marks pulsing darker with the memory. "I heard screaming, my mother's voice. I ran to find her. The Krell were everywhere. Big, armored, with weapons. My father tried to fight them. They killed him in front of me. They killed my mother when she tried to protect me." The chamber was silent now. Even Byung-ho had sat down. "They took 12 of us, other researchers, children, put us in cages. They said we were worth more than money. Said our ability to interface with technology made us the most valuable product in 3 sectors. Her voice cracked. "They called us products, not people. Products." "How did you escape?" asked Soo-bin, a council member and former diplomat. "The ship was attacked by another criminal group, fighting over cargo. Probably us. In the chaos, I used my gift to open the cage. I reached an escape pod. I made the ship's systems malfunction to create more confusion. Then I ran. I did not know where, just away." She looked at the colonists watching her. "I am sorry my presence brought danger to you, but I did not choose this. I did not ask to be stolen. I did not ask for my family to be murdered. I was just trying to survive." A woman in the crowd stood up. It was Mi-sun, one of the colony's teachers. "She is a child, a traumatized child. Are we really discussing handing her over to the people who murdered her family?" "We are discussing survival," Byung-ho said. "Our survival. We have 48 hours before they attack. We cannot fight a warship. We have mining equipment and construction tools. They have weapons designed for war." Dong-hyun, Taiwan's supervisor, spoke next. "The law is clear. First contact protocols exist for a reason. Taiwan violated them. His actions brought this threat to us. I understand his feelings, but feelings do not protect 1,200 people." "Then what do you suggest?" asked Soo-bin. "We hand over a child to slavers who will torture her for her abilities, then sell what is left. Is that who we are?" "We are survivors," Byung-ho said. "This colony exists because we made hard choices. We choose efficiency over comfort, practicality over sentiment. That is how we survive on a frontier world." Taewon felt anger burning in his chest. He stepped forward. "May I speak?" Hae-in nodded. 5 years ago, my sister died in Tunnel 7, he began. She was 20 years old. The tunnel collapsed because we used cheaper supports to save money. We chose efficiency over safety. I spent 3 days digging through rubble. When we found her, I promised myself something. His voice grew stronger. "I promised I would never let fear make me weak, never let practical concerns override doing what is right. My sister died because we forgot that every decision has a moral weight. Every choice says something about who we are." He looked at the faces watching him. Some nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. Yes, I broke protocol. Yes, I put us in danger. But what was the alternative? Leave her to die? Hand her over to murderers? Is that practical, or is it just cowardice dressed up as pragmatism? Careful, Byung-ho warned. But Taewon was done being careful. Humans came to the stars for a reason. We left Earth because we wanted to be better, build better, create something that mattered. We did not travel across the galaxy just to become accomplices to atrocity because it is convenient. He pointed to the display showing the Krell ship. They think we will surrender. They think humans will trade a life for safety. They think we are weak. Maybe they are right. Or maybe we prove them wrong. Silence filled the chamber again. Then a voice spoke from the crowd. I stand with Taiwan. It was young Soo, a grizzled former military engineer. He was old, tough, and respected. When he spoke, people listened. I came to this colony because Earth had too many rules, too much bureaucracy, too much fear, young Soo said. Out here, we have a chance to build something better, but if we hand over that girl, we are no better than Earth, no better than the Krell. We are just another group choosing safety over principle. Another voice joined, then another. People standing, saying they agreed, not everyone. Some looked angry, others scared. But enough voices rose that a tide seemed to shift. Mi-sun stood again. I propose a vote. Do we protect Neela or do we surrender her? This is not a democracy, Byung-ho said. The council decides security matters. But we all share the consequences, Subin replied. Let them vote. Let them choose what kind of colony we are. Hae-in looked at the crowd, then at Neela, then at Taiwan. She sighed deeply. Very well. All in favor of protecting Neela and refusing the Krell demands. Hands rose. Taewon counted quickly. Maybe 600. Half the room. All against. More hands. Fewer, but significant. Maybe 400. The rest abstain? Hae-in asked. The remaining 200 said nothing, too scared to choose. Hae-in stood. The vote is decided. We protect Neela. We refuse the Krell demands. She looked directly at Taewon. But understand this. You created this situation. You made this choice for all of us. Therefore, you bear responsibility. She pulled out a data pad and entered information. By authority of the Colony Council, I hereby designate you as Neela's legal guardian. She is your responsibility. Her actions are your responsibility. Her safety is your responsibility. Do you accept this? Taewon looked at Neela. She stared back at him with those deep, space-like eyes. She was scared. So was he. But he thought about his sister, about doing what was right even when it was hard. I accept, he said. Neela's hand found his. She squeezed gently. Ha-in nodded. Then it is official. Now we have 46 hours to prepare for war. She looked at young Soo. Can we fight them? The old engineer scratched his beard. Fight a warship with mining equipment? No. But can we make them regret attacking us? Maybe, if we get creative. Then get creative, Hae-in ordered. Byung-ho, organize defenses. Subin, try to make contact with anyone who might help. Everyone else, prepare for evacuation protocols if this goes badly. The council chamber emptied quickly, people rushing to assignments, preparing for the impossible. Taewon stood still, Neela's hand still in his. Jiwoo approached them. Well, you really did it now. I know, Taewon said. We are about to fight aliens with laser drills and construction robots. I know. We are probably going to die. I know. Jiwoo smiled slightly. Good. I just wanted to make sure you understood the situation. She looked at Neela. Come on. If we are going to fight, I need to understand your abilities better. You said you can interface with technology? Neela nodded. Any technology, any system. Even Krell systems? Neela's marks pulsed brighter. Especially Krell systems. Jiwoo's smile widened. Then maybe we have a chance after all. 48 hours became 46, then 42. Time moved strangely when death waited in orbit. The colony transformed. Teachers became soldiers. Engineers became weapon designers. Farmers learned to use mining lasers as guns. Young Sue worked without sleeping. He moved through the colony like a storm, pointing and shouting orders. Mount those lasers on the water tower. Turn those construction drones into bombs. I want every reflective surface positioned to confuse their targeting systems. Tae-Wan worked beside him, helping modify equipment. His hands knew machines. Now those machines needed to become weapons. It felt wrong, but necessary. Neela was everywhere. She touched systems and understood them instantly. She showed them how to increase power output without overloading circuits, how to network separate computers into one coordinated defense system, how to create false heat signatures that would fool sensors. The Krell rely on automation, she explained to the defense team. Their ships are smart, but predictable. They follow patterns. We can use that. Jiwoo watched her work with amazement. You are rewiring our entire infrastructure in 2 days. It is necessary, Neela said simply. I caused this danger. I must help fix it. You did not cause anything, Tae-Wan told her. The Krell did this, not you. But Neela looked away, guilt clear in her expression. The Krell ship maintained its orbit, silent and threatening. A metal mountain hanging in the sky. Scans showed it carried enough weapons to destroy the colony 10 times over. Everyone knew this. Everyone prepared anyway. On hour 36, Byung-ho gathered the defense teams. His face was grim. I was wrong, he said simply. I wanted to surrender. I thought survival was more important than principle. But watching all of you prepare to fight for someone you just met, I understand now. We are not just surviving. We are living. There is a difference. He looked at Neela. I apologize. You deserved better from me. Neela nodded, accepting. Fear makes everyone speak wrong sometimes. You are forgiven. Byung-ho smiled slightly. You are very mature for someone so young. I had to grow up fast, she replied quietly. With 6 hours remaining, the Krell ship broadcast again. Commander Keth's voice filled every speaker in the colony. Humans, your time expires soon. Return our property, or we will demonstrate what happens to those who steal from the Krell Syndicate. We do not bluff. We do not negotiate. Comply or die. Hae-In broadcast the colony's response herself. This is Administrator Hae-In of New Haven Colony. We refuse your demands. Neela is not property. She is a person under our protection. If you attack, we will defend ourselves. Keth laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You will defend yourselves? With what? Tools and hope? We have crushed military stations. You are farmers and mechanics. This will be quick. Then come and try, Hae-In said. We are ready. The channel closed. Young Sue looked at his makeshift army. 400 colonists with weapons designed for mining, against a warship built for destroying planets. Well, he said, at least it will be memorable. The attack began at dawn. Krell fighters launched from the ship, small, fast, deadly. They screamed toward the colony in formation. Alarms sounded. People rushed to positions. Children and non-fighters evacuated to underground shelters. Tae-Wan manned a mining laser on the water tower. Beside him, a farmer named Kyung-min held a scanner, calling out targets. Below, Neela sat in the command center, connected to every system in the colony, through cables and her own nervous system. She was the network, the brain of their defense. First wave incoming, Kyung-min said. 3 fighters. Speed. They are too fast. But Neela was faster. The moment the fighters entered range, every laser in the colony fired at once. Coordinated. Precise. One fighter exploded immediately. The other two veered away, confused by the unexpected resistance. "Mining charges away," Young Su's voice came through the comm. "In 3, 2, 1... In orbit, old mining explosives detonated. They had been placed along likely approach vectors, not enough to destroy fighters, but enough to create debris fields. The Krell had to slow down, maneuver around them. It bought time. More fighters came. The colony's lasers fired again and again, some hits, more misses, but the Krell expected easy targets. Instead, they faced coordinated resistance. Every time they locked onto a target, Neela shifted power signatures, making them chase ghosts. A fighter got through. Its weapons tore into the east sector. Buildings exploded. Fire erupted. Screams echoed through the comm system. Taiwan's blood ran cold. People died there. Friends, co-workers. 17 names on a list that would be read later. "Stay focused," Young Su commanded. "Grief comes after. Fighting comes now." The battle raged for 3 hours. The colony fought like cornered animals. Desperate but determined. Construction mechs, designed for building, became weapons. Their industrial arms grabbed a fighter that flew too low, crushing it against the ground. Mining drones rammed enemy ships in suicide runs. It was chaos. It was terrifying. It was humanity refusing to surrender, but they were losing. Slowly, steadily, the Krell overwhelmed them. More fighters launched. Heavier weapons engaged. The colony's eastern defenses fell. Then the northern sector. People died. Equipment failed. Hope faded. Commander Keth broadcast again, his voice amused. "Impressive. For insects. But this ends now. I tire of games." The Krell ship itself descended. Massive weapons charged. They would not just destroy the colony, they would erase it, leave nothing but glass and ash. Young Su looked at Taiwan. "We made them work for it. That counts for something." But Taiwan was not giving up. An idea formed. Crazy, desperate, maybe impossible. He rushed to the command center where Neela sat surrounded by cables. Her eyes closed, her marks glowing bright with effort. "Neela," he said, "you said you can interface with any technology." "Yes," she replied without opening her eyes. "Could you interface with a Krell ship?" Her eyes snapped open. "If I was close enough, if I could touch their systems directly." "How close?" "Inside it, or touching its hull." Jiwoo overheard. She understood immediately. "No, absolutely not. That is suicide." "We are dying anyway," Taiwan said. "We have one chance. Get Neela close to that ship. Let her hack it. Shut it down." "They will kill you before you get within a kilometer," Jiwoo protested. "Not if they think we are surrendering," Taiwan said. He looked at Hei-In, who had been listening. "Tell them we will hand over Neela. Request a transport to bring her up. They will agree." "They want her too badly to refuse." Hei-In's face showed horror and understanding. "You will be captured. Probably killed." "Probably," Taiwan agreed. "But if Neela can shut down that ship, you have a chance." Neela stood. "I will not let you die for me." "You do not get to choose," Taiwan said gently. "I am your guardian. Remember? You are my responsibility. That means protecting you, even from yourself." She looked at him with those deep eyes. "You are foolish." "Yes," he agreed. "Very foolish." Young Su stepped forward. "I am coming too. Someone needs to pilot. Plus, I always wanted to see inside an alien warship." Jiwoo sighed. "If everyone is being stupid, I might as well help." She grabbed medical supplies. "You will need someone who can keep you alive long enough to complete this insane plan." Hei-In contacted the Krell ship. "Commander Keth, we surrender. We will bring Neela to you. Send transport coordinates." Keth's laughter filled the comm. "Finally, you see reason. Bring our property to Landing Bay 3. Any tricks, and we destroy you anyway." They took a modified transport. Small, fast, unarmed. As they lifted off, Taiwan looked back at New Haven. Burning buildings, damaged sectors, but still standing, still fighting. "If this works," Young-Soo said, "they will build statues of us." "If this works," Ji-woo corrected, "we might actually survive." "If this works," Neela said quietly, "I will finally make the Krell pay for my family." The transport flew toward the massive Krell ship. Its weapons tracked them, but did not fire. They had what they wanted, no need for more violence. Landing Bay 3 opened like a hungry mouth. They flew inside. The transport touched down. Around them, Krell soldiers in armor surrounded the ship, big, insect-like, carrying weapons that hummed with power. "This is it," Taewon said. "Remember the plan." They opened the transport door. Taewon stepped out first, hands raised. The Krell grabbed him immediately, rough and efficient. They took Young-Soo and Ji-woo next. Then Neela emerged. Every Krell soldier focused on her, their prize, their valuable product. Commander Keth approached. He was larger than the soldiers, more armor, more weapons. "Finally," he said in accented English. "Do you know how much you cost me? The delays? The ammunition? I should kill you all just for the inconvenience." "But you will not," Nyla said calmly, "because I am too valuable." Keth laughed. "Smart product, yes. You will make me very rich." He grabbed her arm. "Take the humans to cells. Process the Vesha for transport." The moment Keth touched her, Neela's marks flared bright. She grabbed his armor with both hands, her gift activated. She did not just touch technology, she became it. Her consciousness flooded into the Krell ship's systems through Keth's own armor. The commander screamed. Every system in the ship began failing. Lights flickered. Gravity fluctuated. Weapons powered down. Doors locked. Soldiers stumbled as their armor stopped responding. Neela spoke, but her voice came from every speaker in the ship. "I am not product. I am Vesha. I am vengeance. And you will pay for what you did to my family." The Krell ship died around them. Every system that Neela touched through her gift simply stopped working. Lights went dark. Gravity generators failed, sending everyone floating. Life support shut down. The massive warship that had threatened an entire colony became nothing more than a metal coffin drifting in space. Krell soldiers panicked, their armor locked up, trapping them inside. Commander Keth clawed at his helmet, screaming. But Neela held on, her marks glowing so bright they lit the entire landing bay. Taewon pulled himself toward her using handholds. In zero gravity, moving was difficult. "Neela, that is enough! Stop!" Her voice still echoed through the ship's speakers, layered and strange. "They killed my family. They deserve to die." "You are right," Taewon said. Finally reaching her, "They do deserve it. But you do not deserve to become like them. Let go, please." For a long moment, nothing changed. Then slowly, Neela's marks dimmed. She released Keth's armor. The commander floated away, unconscious but alive. Emergency systems began reactivating. Red lights cast everything in crimson. Neela collapsed. Taewon caught her, held her as she trembled. "I almost killed them all," she whispered. "I wanted to." "I know," he said, "but you chose not to. That is what makes you different from them." Young-Soo and Ji-woo floated over. "We need to leave," Young-Soo said. "Now, before they recover." They pulled themselves back to the transport. Behind them, Krell's soldiers began moving again as their armor rebooted, but they were too late. The transport launched, fleeing the crippled warship. As they descended toward New Haven, something impossible happened. 3 ships dropped out of FTL, sleek, elegant vessels that made the Krell warship look crude by comparison. They moved with grace and precision, surrounding the damaged Krell ship. "What are those?" Ji-woo asked. Neela looked up, her eyes widening. "Vesha ships, military fleet." Her marks pulsed with hope and disbelief. They found me. They actually found me. The largest Vesha ship broadcast on all frequencies. The voice spoke in Vesha, which Taiwan's translator worked to process. This is Captain Velmar of the Vesha Defense Fleet. Krell vessel, you are guilty of murder, slavery, and violations of 17 galactic laws. Surrender immediately. The Krell ship, still crippled, could not fight, could not run. Within minutes, Vesha soldiers boarded it. The battle that the colony had fought for hours was over in moments. The transport landed back at New Haven. People surrounded them immediately, asking questions, celebrating, crying. 43 colonists had died. Over 100 were injured. But they had survived. Hei-In pushed through the crowd. She looked exhausted. The Vesha are requesting permission to land. They want to meet Neela. Neela gripped Taiwan's hand tightly. She was shaking. What if they take me away? Then we will deal with that, Taiwan said. Together. The Vesha ship landed in the colony's central plaza. It was beautiful, organic in design like Neela's escape pod had been. A ramp extended, and Vesha soldiers emerged. They looked similar to Neela, but older, taller, their marks arranged in different patterns. Then came the captain. Velmar was tall with silver marks that indicated age and authority. He looked around at the damaged colony, at the humans watching nervously, and then his eyes found Neela. He rushed forward, dropping to one knee to bring himself to her level. He spoke in Vesha, rapid and emotional. The translator caught pieces. Found you. Searched for months. Thought you were dead. Your family's research station. We found the bodies, traced the Krell, followed every lead. Neela responded in her own language, equally emotional. They held each other, and Taiwan felt something twist in his chest. Relief that she was safe, fear that she would leave, joy that she had found her people, sadness that he might lose her. Velmar stood and faced the crowd. He switched to English, heavily accented but clear. I am Captain Velmar. On behalf of the Vesha people, I thank you for protecting one of our children. The Krell will face justice for their crimes. You have our eternal gratitude. Hei-In stepped forward. We only did what was right, though it cost us greatly. Velmar looked at the damaged buildings, the injured colonists, the makeshift weapons. Understanding crossed his face. You fought the Krell, with mining equipment and hope. He shook his head in what might have been amazement. You are brave, foolish perhaps, but brave. Humans usually are, Young-Su said from the crowd. Several people laughed weakly. Velmar turned to Neela. You must come home. Your family's estate waits. Your education must continue. The council wishes to honor your courage. Neela looked up at Taiwan, then back at Velmar. She spoke in Vesha, and the translator worked overtime to process. I do not want to leave. These humans chose danger for me, chose right over easy. Taiwan did not save me because I am valuable. He saved me because it was the right thing to do. I want to stay with him. Velmar looked genuinely shocked. Stay? Here? But you have a home, family estates, education centers, everything you could need. I have a family, Neela said, gesturing to Taiwan, Jiwoo, and Young-Su. I have a home, she pointed at the colony. And I have responsibility. People died protecting me. I must honor that. Velmar and Hei-In talked for a long time. Agreements were made, compromises reached. The Vesha would establish an embassy station in orbit. They would help rebuild the colony, provide technology and resources as thanks for protecting Neela. In return, New Haven would become the first human colony with official Vesha diplomatic relations. Neela would stay with Taiwan as her guardian, but she would spend time on the Vesha ships, learning her people's ways, continuing her education, the best of both worlds. You are certain? Velmar asked Neela one final time. You choose to stay with the human who hid you in a mining station and fed you soup from packets? Neela smiled. He gave me family when I had none, safety when I was hunted, hope when everything was dark. Yes, I choose to stay. Velmar looked at Taewon with new respect. Then you are a very lucky human, and a very responsible one. Neela is precious to us. I trust you understand what it means to be her guardian. I do, Taewon said. I will protect her, teach her, give her the best life I can. See that you do, Velmar said, but he smiled as he said it. Months passed. The colony rebuilt, stronger than before. Vesha technology merged with human engineering. The embassy station brought trade, cultural exchange, and opportunities. Jiwoo led a revolutionary medical program combining Vesha and human techniques. She published papers that changed xenobiology forever. Young-Soo trained a proper defense force, mixing human tactics with Vesha technology. Heian negotiated trade agreements that made New Haven prosperous, and Taewon found himself on the Colony Council, a position he never wanted but somehow deserved. He still preferred quiet, still preferred working with machines, but now he had Neela, who filled his life with questions, laughter, and constant learning. Mi-sun, the teacher, created a cultural exchange program. Human children learned Vesha language and customs. Vesha visitors learned about Earth history and human culture. The classroom became a bridge between species. One evening, Taewon and Neela sat in his workshop. It was much larger now, filled with both human and Vesha technology. They worked on a project together, combining their knowledge to create something new. Taewon? Neela asked, using the name she had practiced saying correctly for weeks. Do you ever regret finding me? He looked at her. She had grown in 6 months, taller, more confident. Her marks had developed new patterns that indicated maturity, but her eyes still held that same mix of curiosity and determination. No, he said honestly, never. My life was quiet before you, safe, predictable, but empty. You gave me purpose, family. A reason to be brave. She smiled. You were always brave. You just needed a reason to show it. Subin knocked on the workshop door. She entered carrying a data pad. Taewon, I thought you should know. Earth has received reports about what happened here. 3 more colonies have made contact with unknown species. They followed our example, chose cooperation over fear. She showed them the news reports, stories of humans meeting alien species across multiple sectors, some friendly, some complicated, but all choosing dialogue over isolation. We started something, Subin said. New Haven is becoming famous. They call it the colony that stood for principle, that fought impossible odds to protect someone who needed help. After she left, Neela returned to work, but she looked thoughtful. Do you think we made the galaxy better? Taewon considered. I think we made our small part of it better. Sometimes that is enough. Sometimes, Neela agreed. But sometimes small things become bigger. Like how one person choosing to help one alien girl started all of this. She was right. That decision in the forest 3 kilometers from the colony had changed everything. Not just for Taewon, not just for Neela, but for humanity's entire future among the stars. News continued spreading. The story of New Haven reached Earth, then spread to all human colonies. It became legend, the colony that fought slavers, the engineer who chose conscience over protocol, the alien girl who brought 2 species together. Historians would debate whether first contact changed humanity or revealed what was already there. Philosophers would argue about the ethics of Taewon's choice. Politicians would use the story to justify their own policies. But Taewon did not care about any of that. He cared about the girl in his workshop, muttering in Vesha as she worked on a circuit board. He cared about Jiwoo stopping by with dinner. He cared about Young-Soo teaching him how to properly maintain Vesha weapons. He cared about his community, stronger after being tested by fire. From orbit, New Haven glowed beneath the stars. Human and Vesha ships moved together, working in harmony. The colony had been damaged but survived, had been tested but held firm, had been given a choice between safety and principle, and chose principle. That choice echoed across space. Other humans saw it and felt inspired. Other species heard about it and reconsidered their views on humanity. The galaxy was vast and often cruel, but in one small corner, one colony had proven that courage and compassion still mattered. Neela finished the circuit board and held it up triumphantly. Done. This will increase efficiency by 40%. Tae-Wan examined it. You are getting too good at this. Soon you will not need me. She looked at him seriously. I will always need you. Not because you teach me about technology, because you taught me what it means to have family, to belong somewhere, to be valued not for what I can do, but for who I am. She paused, then added a word she had been practicing. Dad. Tae-Wan felt his throat tighten. He had not asked her to call him that, had not expected it, but hearing it made something complete inside him. I will always be here, he promised, for as long as you need me. Forever, then, Neela said simply. I will need you forever. Above them, stars shone through the workshop window. Human stars, Vesha stars, stars that belonged to species they had not met yet. The galaxy was vast and full of possibility, and in one small workshop on one small colony, a human and an alien worked side by side, building, learning, growing, proving that the universe was better when people chose courage over fear, principle over convenience, and compassion over cruelty. The story of how Tae-Wan found Neela in a crashed ship would be told for generations. But the more important story was what happened after. How two different beings became family. How a colony became a bridge between species. How one choice to help someone in need started a chain reaction that changed the galaxy. Sometimes being human meant being afraid, but sometimes it meant being brave despite the fear. And sometimes it meant looking at someone different, someone scared, someone alone, and simply saying, I will help you. That was the real story. That was what made humanity special. Not their technology, not their weapons, but their stubborn, foolish, beautiful insistence on doing what was right, even when it cost them everything. The workshop lights stayed on late into the night. Two people working, learning, building a future together, and somewhere among the stars, others watched and learned that humanity was exactly what the galaxy needed. Brave, foolish, compassionate, and absolutely unwilling to surrender their principles for convenience. That was humanity. That was hope.